looked at this map I've looked at this river on the map a lot. Oh, there it is.
Wow, it's a big river.
Better make sure you're looking up. It is a big river.
At least this one has a sign so you know it's up.
That's true. Well, we think. We haven't seen it yet, but there's people out there jet skiing on the Columbia River. Leaving Portland. You don't get an entering Washington, but well,
there it is.
Oh,
there it is.
There's
There's actually a
this
sign.
is the dead man's zone right here.
Welcome to
Washington.
We made it. Yoo-hoo.
And from there, we went to what became our second home for a
Good
while. We
night.
went to Anacortes, Washington, which this was one of the parts of the
This was
trip
a gift.
I was
Yeah.
really, really excited about. I had been dreaming about paddling in the San Juan Islands for 10 years now. I wanted to paddle
Yeah.
with the orcas. That's been my dream. And so I was really excited about rolling up to this park. And it was so fun. It's a little city park, actually.
Yes. Washington Point Park.
Washington Park, I think, is
Okay.
just the name of it. And so, it wasn't like an RV park. It was more like a state park type
Yes, yep.
atmosphere. You had full hookups, which was,
No,
great.
we had electric and water.
Well,
we
electric
didn't have
for us,
sewage.
full
Yeah.
hookups, but we had electric and water. And we pulled up, and the campsites were gorgeous.
Beautiful.
And you're like, okay, I can see some water. We're real close to the water, but we had no idea. The next day, we went on. There's a walking
Wow.
trail, and there's trails all through there. We ended up doing a lot of hiking through there.
This is a must visit. I mean, the
Yes, it
hiking,
was-
the sunsets were some of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen in my life. One thing that was really interesting was if you were in camp, let's say it was 54 degrees. If you walked out to where you were not completely canopied by trees, it would be a full 10 degrees warmer. It would be 64 degrees. We might be a little chilled in camp wearing a couple layers, and if you drove to town, which was just 5 minutes away, but outside the canopy of the trees, you might be in shorts and a t-shirt. It was amazing the difference that canopy
It
made.
was. And we had beautiful weather the whole time we were there.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, it was sunny and pretty and warm out, during the day outside of camp. And then it was just a lovely,
It was.
lovely place. We did not intend to stay that long, but
We made good use of it. So we intended to stay in Anacortes for 4 days. And during that time, we took the ferry over to Friday Harbor, rented kayaks, and we did paddle
yeah, and that was on San Juan Island.
on San Juan Island.
And it was just so cool to be
Oh
out
my
on the
goodness,
water.
the things,
it was
it's
so
just
cool.
beautiful, and you are paddling the San Juans. And I mean, it's gorgeous. And our guide was awesome, and so that was a lot of fun. Again, just saw beautiful things. We also took a ferry over to Orcas Island, where we hiked to the top of Mount Constitution, the tallest point in the San Juan Islands, and it was a neat hike. It was very pretty. We hiked and we hiked and we hiked and we hiked and up for
It was up.
miles, and then when we arrived at the top, we learned that there's actually a road that goes all the way to the top. You can drive.
But that's okay
Yeah.
because we hiked through that old growth
Oh,
forest,
man.
which is a very different experience.
Yes.
You don't have all the undergrowth.
No.
Very, very quiet.
Yep.
It's really, you talk about an enchanted forest, and that's how it felt to me. Like it just was kind of enchanting. I don't
was
know. It was
beautiful.
quiet. It was, listen, this snake hating girl loved that it was, I could step and
Yeah.
I could see everywhere. It was really neat. And then when you get to the top, you can look down and you're just looking down on all of the islands. It was a
Yes.
neat perspective. It was a different perspective than we had seen. So
That was really neat. So we wound up staying in Anacortes for
18 days.
18 days, and this was due to some very frustrating attempts to get the heating portion of the air conditioner working. MDC had been working very closely with us trying to sort out what was going on with our Dometic air conditioner. And I mean, I have to say they went above and beyond, because I guarantee you we were pests. But it was important to us to know that, number one, everything functioned the way that it was supposed to, and number two, we knew that we were coming to a much colder environment, and we wanted to ensure that we had everything that we could to help keep the family warm. So there were a lot of communication challenges with Dometic, and that was very frustrating.
It just kind of went on and on and on. But we did get a resolution to
We
that.
got
we
it
do have a
resolved.
working heat. and
MDC
so-
did not give up until they got it handled for us, and they found a mobile RV mechanic who would come out to our campsite and help us out, and he was awesome.
Bentley, and we'll put his information and his business information there, because if you need help, Bentley will come out and he'll help you and take care of you.
Oh my
and
goodness, he
his
was
son,
awesome.
Yeah,
You know, I will say we've had to work with 2 RV repair companies now. One before we ever left, and then this one.
and they were incredible too.
RV
yeah.
Medics in Dallas was incredible, and Bentley was incredible. And yes, we'll post that information, because I would call either one of those groups in a heartbeat.
Absolutely, they were good to us.
Yeah.
So that was, it was a frustrating part of it, but we were blessed that we had this lovely place that we really enjoyed. And we rested more than
Yes.
we would have.
Yes,
So, we got to do some neat things. We went kayaking, we went whale watching.
and that was so
amazing.
cool. We
So-
did that. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, so when we went kayaking, I did not sadly see an orca from the kayak, which is what I really wanted to do, but we took the whale watching tour, and I could have sat all day long watching those animals.
Yep.
And then we had one that came right by the
Oh, my
boat,
goodness.
and it was just amazing.
There are very strict rules with what these boats can and cannot do with the pods of both orcas and the other species of whales that move through. And I'm talking about strict rules with serious fines about the speeds that they can travel, how close that they can get. And so you're very restricted as to how close you can come to those whales. Now, in this particular case, the pod completely turned. I mean, they were headed one direction, and they made a 90-degree turn. And so one of the big males, do you remember his name?
I don't. Ella
It's
probably
amazing
remembers.
also how they know each one of these orcas based on their dorsal fin and the markings and cuts on it. But it came right to the boat and probably passed within 30 feet, maybe 45 feet of the bow of the boat.
right,
The-
yeah.
the captain had brought the boat to a stop when he recognized, oh, they're moving our direction, and in order to make sure that that he was as safe as possible, and it just came right to us. And so that was
That was
magical.
an amazing
Yeah.
experience. And just being on the boat was so
Yeah,
fun too.
it
Just being
was.
on the boat out on the water. It was just a neat experience. It was a highlight for
Yep,
me. So, and we
absolutely.
would not have done that there probably had
Yeah.
we not been there so long. But we finally were like, we need to get out. We need to do something. We're not moving. We're just
Yep.
staying in the same spot. And so that, it's just one of those things that it was a highlight that came out of a difficult situation. So
But we met some neat people. Washington Park was an incredible park. Dean was one of the caretakers there at the park, and Dean was just the nicest guy. And he and our dog Piper just bonded, and that was, we met cool folks there.
we did, and we met
Cindy and Dennis. Yep.
And just
Yep.
we've they've commented on some
Absolutely.
of our stuff, and we've been able to stay.
Yep.
Part of what we love is the people that we meet
Oh,
and
yeah.
the stories that they have and that they can tell
Yeah.
about their travels and just about their lives. So
Yep.
Anacortes to me, even the town, that just it's
So
cutest little
beautiful.
town,
Yep.
and their little post office was adorable. And
Went to a little art festival while we were
I
there.
forgot the art festival.
James and I had breakfast one morning. Terry and Ella went and had coffee and played around in town. So
There's a bookstore there with a
Yeah.
coffee shop in it we fell in love with, and
Yeah.
it was such a nice time. So
and which was interesting because that was during some of our most frustrating
Mm-hmm.
times, because things that we were expecting to happen were not happening when we thought that they would, and so it really created a balance for us that I will look back on that time with great fondness.
me too.
And not with oh my gosh, we were stuck in this place. If you're gonna be stuck somewhere,
It's
Anacortes, Washington, not a
And-
bad place to be stuck. Oh, and we toured the boat manufacturing company.
that's right. Rosema Boatworks.
Rosema Boatworks.
Rosema Boatworks. So we have friends back home that have a friend who owns a boatwork company where they make boats, and he was so gracious and he let us come and we got to see the boats,
And let me
different
just
ones
say-
in different stages of being built.
I asked Terry what kind of boats they make. She said, I don't know, aluminum
boats.
I'm thinking, okay, cool, we're gonna go see some John boats, because that's my idea of an aluminum boat. No, this guy builds massive boats, and they are built. These are work boats. These boats are built like tanks. They're used in offshore oil spill cleanups. They're used by whale watching companies. They're used by professional fishermen. These are serious boats, and to be able to see how they were done, from the time that they laid from the time that they laid the keel to the time that they were mounting the electronics, that was really neat.
Yeah, we were actually able to walk up on the scaffolding and do some neat things. And, we have kids who are in school and we homeschool, clearly, but that was one of those moments. It was so educational, and they were
Yeah.
able to learn so much through that.
And
It was a highlight for you.
I got to ask a lot
of
of questions
questions.
because that stuff fascinates
Yeah.
me, and he had an answer for every
He
single
did.
one.
We
of them.
learned a lot about
Yeah.
that process.
Yeah.
So that was kind of neat. And one other thing about Anacortes,
Dirk.
we were there. So Dirk was his name,
yes.
and you loved that his name was Dirk.
That's the most
But-
awesome name.
Yeah. But that was the time. During that time, you had to fly home for a few days. And so we were actually in this great little park where we felt very safe and
And I
taken
felt
care
good
of.
leaving them there.
Yeah. And
Yep.
we knew Dean was probably going to be checking in on us.
That's
and it was just so it was very nice. So Jim flew back.
Flew back to Dallas. I'm talking about a whirlwind trip. I flew in on Monday.
The 14th. I don't know what day that was.
Let's just
but-
say it was a Monday. I flew in on a Monday night. My brother Craig picked me up, took me to his house. Then I went into the Dallas Police Department the next day and processed out. Well, this feels incredibly strange. I'm back in Dallas, driving in traffic. Like, worse traffic than I found in LA, although I am moving right now. But the maps say that's about to come to a literal grinding halt. Today, I am processing out of the Dallas Police Department, and after 21 and a half years, I am retiring and hanging up my spurs. I actually already hung up my spurs. I did that when I left the mounted unit. I actually have a plaque with spurs on them. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. But I am hanging up this job. So I'm excited about that. I'm sad about it also. I think what is most remarkable to me right now is that this does not feel like home. My home is in a trailer with my family. And so we have a little sign that hangs in there that says home is wherever you are. And that is the absolute truth. Right now, home is wherever my family is, and that's what feels right. And this just feels like I'm visiting a place I used to know. So it's a very odd kind of feeling. And I'm fixing to walk into a building where I know nearly everybody. And that's going to be just strange. But I'm excited about seeing folks. I'm excited about processing out. Honestly, I'm most excited about getting back to my family. So I'll be really excited, though, to get out of this traffic. Really excited. That took all day long. So I wound up going out and having dinner with two of my best friends, and that was neat to get to see the Chris's. And we had an amazing dinner because the next day I got up at 5 a.m. and no, actually it was closer to 4:30, and got to the airport and flew back, and it was my 50th birthday.
50th birthday. So we
Yeah.
got back in time for his 50th birthday, and we had decorated
That was really cool.
the rig,
Yeah.
and just, there's not a lot you can do. Not a lot of big gifts that you can present. But we had decorated the rig and had some cupcakes and things, and just so we got to spend your 50th with you, and
Absolutely.
that was nice. And we held down the fort for a
You
little
held
bit.
down the fort. That's right.
But yeah, so then we spent another day there, I think. But that day we were able to get the heat put
Yep.
in and fixed, and again Bentley and his son met us.
Met
they
us
met
in
us
another
in a
town.
parking lot,
Yes.
and did that for
Yep.
us. So that was totally going above
Yep.
and beyond. And so they did that and got us on our way, and we headed up. We wanted to get as close to the Canadian border as
Yep.
we could, and so we made it to a little town called Ferndale, Washington. It was
Yes.
late. We didn't want to try to cross that late, so
Right.
there was a casino there. We stayed at the Silver Reef Casino.
Silver Leaf.
Silver. Anyway, it was
It
something.
was a
like
cool
that.
casino. Silver something. It was awesome.
It was really nice.
It was actually a great place to
and
camp.
they gave you like a. I mean, all you had to do was go in and sign
Sign
up,
in,
and
and
they gave us a $5 credit, and I don't know, like
Something
10%
off of dinner.
off. So we went in and we ate dinner at the little restaurant, and we didn't do any gambling. I said we should have used our $5 credit to see if we could have.
Never
made
stops
that.
there.
But
And once I get into the blackjack tables, there's just no stopping.
and we met some friends they were from Canada that
Yep.
were parked right by us, so we visited with them, and it was actually kind of a fun little
Yeah.
night in the parking lot of the casino. But we did that, and then the next day we crossed the border
Crossed
into
the border into
Canada.
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 Yep.
I can't even say it. Canada.
Canada.
Kennedy. But we that was kind of a neat experience. The kids had never been out of the country before. It was a first for them. I had never had a passport, and I was so excited. I got to use my passport, and I was just waiting for that stamp. And do you know they don't give stamps anymore? They do not stamp your passport.
Terry had put so much work into making sure we had everything. We had documents for the vehicle because there's a lien on the vehicle, so of course you have to have permission from your bank saying that you can get across if they ask for it. The trailer, there's a lien on the trailer. You have to have permission from the bank saying that you can cross in another country. We had documents for the dog. We had documents for
Cat,
every
who's not with us,
yeah,
but I even had documents for the cat.
Yep.
So.
And they asked for
None
of it.
of it. I was like, seriously, do you want to see my paperwork for the dog?
got this. I've got this. Do you
I
wanna see-
have an accordion file full
And the guy's
of
like,
things.
no ma'am, thank you.
He just looked at
Have a
it,
great trip.
scanned it, and off we went. We made it through Border Patrol.
That's right.
I didn't get a stamp. I was so disappointed. He scanned it. I was like, can I have a stamp, please? Give me a
We also
sticker."
didn't get searched, and we're not
That's
disappointed
true.
about that because of just the timing
They
of
didn't
it.
throw any of our food away, so that's good.
Which makes me wish we'd done a lot of grocery
I
shopping.
know it.
All right, here we
Ready?
go.
Welcome
to
British Columbia! Woo! But we were grateful we had
Yes.
an easy crossing. So,
Absolutely.
so we did that. We spent a little time in Vancouver, just kind of for the day. We went to a park there, and we
Yep.
didn't spend a lot of time in Vancouver, but we went on to Whistler.
Stanley
Park.
Stanley Park. Really beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Beautiful park. Huge aquarium there. You can look out over the river and see all the ships moving. James and I played some catch, and the dog got to get out and play.
Ooh, we picked some fresh
We
blackberries.
picked a bunch of fresh blackberries. That was beautiful. Stanley Park was really beautiful.
Then
Yeah.
we realized, we went into a little Walmart, and you can't find the front doors. They're very
It was
different.
in a mall.
Yeah,
The
that
Walmart
one was.
was in a mall.
And it's just very different. You get in, and then half of it was in French, and I wasn't expecting French till we get to Quebec, and so
But- We did get to buy Capitaine Crochet.
crochet.
That was
And yes,
so good.
and the sweetest jelly you have ever
peanut
had
butter.
in your life, and peanut butter. I mean, your 13-year-old says,
Oh,
"Can you lay off the jelly?" It is really, really sweet. But we had food, and we didn't starve, and we got stocked up, and we moved on to Whistler, which was
Yes.
gorgeous.
Oh my goodness.
Gorgeous. We were actually going to move on. We were going to drive on, and we got out of town a little bit, and you said, I don't want to miss Whistler. I don't want to miss this.
Yeah.
And so we turned around and went back to the village and
Yep.
and decided, let's just find a little place here. Maybe we'll just find a little RV park or something.
Right.
So it'll be easy and we can take our time. And another one of those things you stumble upon that is
my
just
goodness.
a blessing and a gem. But this Whistler Olympic Park was where they had the Olympics in Vancouver in 2010.
The Nordic so
events.
biathlons, cross country, ski skating,
And ski jumping.
and ski jumping. And one of the things that towers over this RV park is the big jump, which probably has a technical name.
But to us, it's just the big
The
jump.
big jump. And you can actually go up the stairs that lead alongside the entire jump. And then there's a trail that switchbacks up the top of the mountain. And you can actually go to the very top where they go in the booth, the warming area, and then walk out to the steps and then go down and then where they launch from. And I'm telling you, they're crazy.
They are. It was really something to stand and to
Golly.
see the view that they see and think, there's no way I would ever
So
do
what
that,
you
but-
don't know when you're watching the Olympics or watching this sport is that when they take off, they can't see the ground that they're landing on. I mean, because the ramp is so steep, and then there's the lip, but then the landing area is so steep, you're just out in space.
Yeah,
And that was awe-inspiring.
That was really neat. And they
Yep.
did such a nice job with it because when you get to the top and go into the little warming hut, they had some videos of the ski
Of
jumpers.
the 2010 Olympics.
And then they had some pictures and some
Yep.
things explaining it. It was really nicely done. And that was actually right where you park that's what you see.
yeah.
And so that was neat. And then we did that, and then we actually tried the biathlon. Like we could go experience
they had
that.
different experiences that you could do. And listen, we're not talking about anything fancy and set up with red tape. No, walk out there. There's a guy. He's going to be your coach as you shoot the biathlon course.
All right, this is all about new experiences today, right, guys?
Yep.
Going to experience what it is like to try biathlon, which I've never done before. I don't think they're going to make us ski a lot today,
No.
but shooting maybe. Well,
Snow's a bit limited.
the snow is a bit limited. Maybe they'll make us jog in place to get our heart rate up.
And that was really,
And it
really
was,
neat.
and the Olympic rings are everywhere,
yeah.
and so you're like,
You're laying on the ground where they had the Olympics, and you're shooting the rifles that they were shooting in, similar to what they were shooting in the Olympics, at the targets that they were shooting at in the Olympics. That was harder than I thought it would
it was harder. I did pretty good.
There you go. Good shot.
Nice.
Nice. Okay, good start.
Nice.
Dang, I missed one.
Turns out I'm going to be better behaved than I thought.
I'm going to be a biathlete.
Yes, you are.
But it was because we were calm and we haven't just
Our hearts weren't going
we
at
haven't been
180 beats
but
per
he
minute.
said 200.
Yeah.
They would get up to 200 beats per minute.
And then by the time they shot, they could get their heart rate down to about 160.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they would just they learned to breathe. It was amazing. I mean, I can't
think-
imagine doing that with my heart pounding.
I think you were shooting at 50 meters, and there were two sizes of targets depending on if you were standing or prone. And I think it was a 4-inch bullseye or a 2-inch bullseye. I think it could have been 2 inches and 1 inch. All I know is I've shot a lot, and the smaller target was tough. So
Yeah.
that was a neat experience to get to do that. And that RV park, listen, if you are traveling up through that
Yes.
area, you must stay there. It was very inexpensive. There was water and electricity and amazing facilities for showering and bathrooms, and then a huge lounge with couches,
Well, it was
foosball tables.
Yeah, it's the lodge because
Yeah.
in the winter
Yep.
they still use it as a
Cross-country.
cross-country and ski jumping and
Yep.
all of that. So it's not open as an RV park in the winter, but in the summer it is, in the off season. So we had access to the lodge,
Yeah.
and there was a game room,
Oh.
there was foosball and
That was so
ping
much fun.
pong
Yep.
and cornhole.
Yep.
And then there's a quiet room. So there's a couch, like there's a sofa and
The big fireplace.
it looked like a little living room and a TV in there.
and there's no one up there.
no, and it was just
Yeah.
it was so nice to be
Yes.
able. We really utilized that.
Yep.
We got out of the rig. I went and sat on that couch.
Yep.
There's a deck. You could sit out and watch
Huge
the
deck
sunset.
that overlooked the sunset and
I mean,
massive
just-
mountains, and yeah.
So we took full advantage
I
of
would
that lodge.
I would go back to Whistler in the summer, just go downhill mountain biking, just go play and rock on the mountain, and then I would stay there. I mean, in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
just hope that people who stay there take care of it and don't ruin it for everybody.
Right.
You know, we just hope people are respectful.
Yep.
Because and the laundry was free. I did
Yeah.
laundry and it was
Yeah.
like she was like, "Oh, that's included." And so,
Done.
Yeah, so we
No
just
takebacks.
did laundry and we played in the lodge, and you and James stayed in the lodge a lot
Yeah.
playing games, and we all stayed up late playing cornhole. It was
Mm-hmm.
just fun to be out and have sort of a home environment a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah,
So we enjoyed
absolutely.
that.
We skipped something.
What did we skip?
The train wreck hike. Well, we're going on a hike.
Going on a little hike.
What are we going to see?
Bears? No. A train wreck.
A train wreck, yes. We're
Which
going-
might include bears.
a lot of things about this trip have been train wrecks.
Yeah.
This is actually an intentional attempt to see a train wreck.
Apparently there's a
So,
really cool suspension bridge and a train wreck down here. So
let's go see a train wreck.
let's go see it.
And maybe no bears.
Hopefully not. We didn't bring spray. So,
Wouldn't that be something?
yeah.
Oh yeah, that was in Whistler.
In Whistler.
We
I do want to
did.
mention the
We
train wreck
did.
hike. If you're up there and you're going to go for a hike, it's a short hike. There was a train wreck that occurred back in the 50s.
54, I think.
The crew was running behind. They pushed too hard. They were at roughly twice the speed they should have been when they hit this corner, and they had a heck of a wreck. And it was the only route at that time in and out of this area. And so they had to call the military in to come and clear the train cars. So they didn't take them out. They just pushed them off the tracks into kind of a forested area. And then over the years, artists have gone in there and painted on these cars, and it's constantly
Graffiti.
changing. Yeah, it's an artful graffiti.
It really is.
Yeah, and it was cool.
It
was
was
very
cool.
cool.
And it was a
Our
beautiful
friends,
hike. Mm-hmm.
the Fulmers, told us we had to go do that, and a couple of folks had mentioned us. We're like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. Oh wow, that was really neat.
It
So,
was neat.
yeah,
And
I'm
a beau-
backtracking a bit, but that was
Yeah,
that
and it was a
cool.
beautiful hike too. So
It was
through
a
there.
beautiful hike.
Yeah.
A special thanks to our partners. None of this would be possible without your help.